Hello, everyone. Welcome to this year's end of the year project, year six. I always tell myself that I'm going to start working on this in November or even October because it's always such an undertaking. But here I am working on it January 2026. But hey, keeping the tradition alive. Though at the start of December, I was starting to think, how am I going to best capture 2025? At the time when I was reflecting on the year, I felt neutral. This year wasn't horrible, but it wasn't fantastic. It was the definition of the word all right. There were countless moments that I felt deeply loved and protected and cared for by my friends and the community of queer people that I surround myself with. There were also moments that I really let myself down and deeply betrayed myself. But being in your 20s. My end of the year project for this year seemed like it was going to be simple. I would write about the journey of self growth and the power of friendship, overlaid with some footage of my friends shaking ass in the club. I posted on my socials, and that would be that. But then in December, I get a fever, which wasn't unusual for me. I am known to be a very sickly person. My friends all know that with the change in seasons, I am most likely going to come down with something. No matter how much I mask, wash my hands, snuff some preemptive Flonase, I'm going to get a fever that just takes me out for a few days. I didn't think much of it, so I asked my roommate Becca for some ibuprofen. I took it and expected to recover in 3 to 5 days, like always. But then I couldn't eat anything, like nothing at all, which was unusual because even though my appetite is a bit lower when I'm sick, it's never to the point where I can't even stand to take a bite of food. I felt too weak and my stomach felt full despite having nothing in it. All I could do was drink water and sip on some ginger ale. Around day 3 or 4, I started vomiting, which was insane because there was no food in my stomach, yet I kept throwing up this awful bile. It's that night that I realized I won't be able to cure whatever's going on with me and I need to see a doctor. So I call up my platonic wife Mia and she drives me to urgent care. There, they diagnose me with the flu and I'm prescribed some meds for the nausea. The pharmacy is closed, so I go home, and the next day, my friend Kay gets me my meds. But now things have gotten progressively worse. I woke up with an uncharacteristically heavy period. There's blood in my vomit, and now my nose is bleeding, and I've never gotten a nosebleed in my life. There's so much blood exiting my body that I'm now worried that I'm about to just like bleed out in my apartment. So I tell Becca that I'm like concerningly sick, and we get an Uber and we go to Wyckoff Hospital. A mistake, the biggest mistake. What precedes is a psychological horror where we get there at midnight. I don't leave until 6 in the morning. I was in so many rooms waiting to be seen by a professional for over an hour at a time. My nose is stuffed with 2 tampons, and my body is like visibly shaking from my fever chills. When a doctor finally examines me, he orders no labs, like no blood work. He just takes my vitals. The further he examines me, this like deeper chill sets in, and it's the chilling realization that I'm smarter than him. Like I have more common sense than the licensed professional in front of me who's googling my symptoms right now. For legal reasons, I will not go into detail, but I'm pretty sure I experienced medical malpractice in the 6 hours I was at that hospital. I just kept thinking, damn, this is how they kill niggas like me. At the end of my visit, I'm prescribed Afrin and some more useless nausea medication, but the excruciating catheter, they stuck up my, like, deep in my nose for an hour and then try to convince me that I should keep it there for 3 days, even though I'm asthmatic, and it was incredibly painful. I made them take it out. It did stop my nosebleed. So I get home at 6 in the morning, feeling horrendous. I send a text to my group, like friend group chat, and I'm like, "Yo, I ain't never felt this sick before. Mia comes over later that day with my meds, and my daughter, Camille Lynn, who's visiting her biological family for the holidays, orders us a bunch of Chinese food. I don't remember much about this day because I was sleeping so much, but I do remember Mia spoon feeding me some congee, which I later threw up, and watching some heated rivalry. At one point, I say, I feel like I'm dying. To which we both think I'm being hyperbolic because I've always assumed, if it's my time to go, I'm gonna have like some sort of intuitive feeling around it. Little did I know that was the intuitive feeling. um, Later that evening, Nia goes home, and as I'm about to fall asleep again, I randomly like sneeze. My nose starts bleeding again. I'm like, fuck it. I put some toilet paper up my nose, and I go to bed. The next day, I text my friends, and I'm like, can someone go to the doctor with me? Kay comes over, and we go to the same urgent care from 2 days ago. Coincidentally, it's the same doctor checking me out, and upon seeing the regular sized tampons filling up with blood, and after hearing that the nausea meds are just making me throw up even faster, he's like, go to NYU Lagos. It's above me now, go to NYU Lagos. Either in the city or Cobble Hill. I'm like, bet. I choose the one in the city because at this point I don't trust any doctor in Brooklyn. Within an hour and a half of being at NYU, they've taken my labs, and I found out that I'm experiencing kidney failure and are preparing to give me dialysis. Within hour two or three, they find out that I have TTP, a rare life threatening blood disorder that is damaging my red blood cells and blocking blood flow to my vital organs, which is causing my acute kidney failure. My kidney function numbers were so low, and given how TTP was messing with my blood cells, had I waited another day or two to go to NYU, I would most likely not be sitting here right now. And isn't that crazy how quickly things change? Like, one day, your friends are all over at your house braiding your hair, and then that next week, those same friends are asking your doctor about dialysis and all of the other treatments you could be getting while you can barely keep your eyes open. I was in the hospital for a week. I had this huge catheter in my neck the entire time. I got dialysis for like 1 or 2 days, and then for 5 days, I was doing this plasma exchange that was taking my blood out of my body, washing it, and putting it back in. I was getting a shot twice a day to make sure my blood would start clotting again normally. I had blood work done every 8 hours. It was just like needle after needle, pill after pill. I would be awoken at all times of the night for my vitals to be taken. I hadn't kept food down in 3 days before being admitted into the hospital and for the first 3 to 4 days of being in the hospital. So that is like up to 7 days, no food in my stomach. I was getting all of my nutrients through an IV, and around day five, I was starting to keep 1 or 2 bites of food down, but it was like a battle between mind over matter, and my mind lost half the time. I started to develop this fear around eating because I knew just one bite of food could like make me start retching. My body went through so much. At the end of it all, I kept staring at my battle scars, the IV injection marks on my arm, the scar on my shoulder from the skin graft that they took, the marks on my neck from the catheter. And at first I didn't feel sad, just frustrated. Like, how could this all happen to me? Like, and so quickly, how could my year be ending like this? Like, this was the year I finally felt like I had a semblance of control. Like, despite its struggles, I was proud of myself for naming what I wanted, reaching for it, and getting it. I needed money, so I got a job at Hollister, even though I hate retail. I needed to get out of bumfuck Florida, so I reached out to my community and we raised enough money for me to get out and move back to New York. I needed a new job, so I asked around and I landed a substitute teaching job. I worked my summer job with a promotion that I simply asked for and got it. At the end of the summer, when I needed a new apartment, my roommates and I found the apartment of my dreams. None of this happened seamlessly. Tears of stress were definitely shed, but I still felt incredibly accomplished. I stepped into responsibility and discomfort this year, terrified but resolute that I was going to get what I want. The core of this year's reflection was supposed to be the joy I found in my grit. It was supposed to be about the little wins, the little victories. I was prepared to share my journey of haphazardly laying the foundation of my adulthood and how proud I was to watch that cement dry. But instead, I'm back in Florida, baby, living with my parents as I recover from my brush with death. Once again, I'm in this scary ass red state, far away from my community who have protected me at my lowest. I feel like a video game character who lost one of their lives and now must begin the game again from the beginning. I know that the progress I made in 2025 isn't nullified by those terrible last 2 weeks, but I don't know where to put all of this anger and frustration. I mean, it feels mean to blame my body, yet I think, how could you do this to me? When everything was so shaky, yet was starting to fall into place in its own way. I it feels blasphemous to blame the universe, yet I fume like this is my reward. This is my reward for all my grit. Not a catharsis, but a crash. I've been going through this version of the stages of grief, and I'm oscillating right now through anger and depression. When I was in the hospital, I wasn't really internalizing the gravity of what I was going through. I don't think I could have handled it at the time. I just wanted my nose to stop bleeding. And when my nose finally stopped bleeding, I just wanted to be able to eat again. And when I could eat one or two bites of food, I just wanted the tubes to be taken out of my neck. When they took the tubes out of my neck, I just wanted to go home to my bed and sleep on my stomach. And most of all, I just wanted to get back to my gay little life. Now that I'm on the other side of it all, the heaviness of all of it is really setting in. I look back at 2025 trying to put a hopeful spin on it, but I can't. I don't feel like it, nor am I searching for external validation here. I don't mean to sulk, it just sucks. And there's a relief in sitting in that truth without trying to find some poetic or profound spin on how it feels to face your own mortality at 24. While I was in the hospital, I was never really scared. That's not true. I did make my mom hold my hand every time they did blood work. But there was never a moment where I was like, am I going to recover? I knew I was going to recover and I knew there would be no problem with that. And if there were hiccups with that, I knew I would overcome them. Built up so much grit this year. Hell, I got weed sober this year. You know how impossible that was in the past? There's that grit that got me through that week in the hospital. This year, I learned how to sit in discomfort without letting it kill my spirit, which is how I can now sit here and say that I want to fully feel my anger and sadness, and also know that I'm going to come out of it. I know that I'm going to feel joy again, but right now, things are just shitty, and I feel shitty about it. Things will change, because they always do. I don't think the younger me would be able to feel so assured in that. This year's recap is sad, but expected that one of these would be, you know? I miss my life so much right now. I miss my friends so fucking much. I miss going to our gay parties and getting all dolled up for those gay little parties. I miss listening to music on the bus or on the train. I miss working with those fuck ass kids and having them ask me if I'm a boy or a girl every day. I miss my friends so much. If it weren't for them, I would be dead right now. And that's not an exaggeration. If it weren't for my friends, I would be dead right now. It's been a shitty year, but I'm endlessly blessed. Happy New Year, everybody.
No. K should go right before Darlene. Savior gets walked down.
You're the only one who I care
But I feel like all of these guys.
now.
What are we doing?
From here on out, you may kiss, hug, and grind on each other.
You're the only one who I care now. One who I care.